PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
This week on PACTV Community News, we take you to a beach preservation education night in Duxbury, meet a Kingston resident who's making quite a name for himself as a chef, and we stop into the Seniors Thanking Seniors Luncheon at Plymouth South High School.
PCN brings you an update from the annual assessment meeting for the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Plant, and we stop into Pembroke High School, which won a prestigious music award for the district.
We have a new contributor to our pet health segment, Duxbury Animal Hospital, and we bring you another beautiful cat in need of a forever home from the Friends of the Plymouth Pound.
We have a special studio guest today. It's Plymouth's own litter lady, and she'll inspire us to get out and help clean up the town this weekend.
It's a full show, and we begin at Pembroke High School. The Pembroke School District includes the Bryantville Elementary, North Elementary, Hobbamock Elementary, Pembroke Community Middle School, and Pembroke High School, and was one of 476 school districts nationwide to be recognized by the National Association of Music Merchants as one of the best communities for music. Gwyn Chapman is the Director of Fine Arts and Performing Arts at the Pembroke Schools, and we met up with her recently to discuss the recognition her program has received.
1, 2, 59. 1.
The National Association for Music Merchants recognizes school districts across the country, of which there are about 13,500. And you submit information that looks at all parts of your program, whether it be access to music education, funding, community involvement, student involvement. They just look at the whole program and get your history, and then they designate the best communities in music education for that particular year. Out of the 13,500 districts that are in the nation, the NOM Foundation picked 476 districts, and there happen to be 19 recognized here in Massachusetts, and 3 here specifically on the South Shore, so we're really proud of that. I think Pembroke's kind of special because with the way that we de-regionalized from Silver Lake in 2004, we really were starting from scratch. We were building a program where there was no program before. So for me, I wanted the entire community, the entire district to be represented. The school department was really behind the vision that I had to build a program. We started a string program. There's hardly any districts that start a string program, especially when you're in a recession. So we started a string program. They added staff where we needed to as the students started to get more involved, and the families being really committed to having their students involved in music education, really seeing the value of the arts and what they could bring to their child. It was a truly community effort. The music department is unbelievably proud of having this distinction. The music faculty works really hard, but it really is about the students and the families here in Pembroke that make that special. They really make it happen for us. And down the road, we will continue to offer the programs that we do, and we have our 6th grade band going to play at a Revolution game in Gillette, and we're planning a music trip for the spring of 2017 here in the high school, and we just want to keep these programs as a vital part of our community.
You know, in the few times that I've been to that school and I've gotten to see and hear the musicians there and watch the instructors, it's an incredible program they've got going.
It's not only incredible, it's so affirming to these young people who are part of it. My daughter was lucky enough to be involved in the Pembroke, in the choral end of it, not the strings, but the choral. And it's something that it drove the kids together for something positive and wonderful, and they're getting better and better every year. It's amazing, the program in Pembroke. Amazing.
Yep. I was really impressed when I left there. Awesome program.
Yep.
For anyone that had questions about the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's assessment of the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Plant, the NRC held its annual assessment meeting at the Hotel 1620 in downtown Plymouth. We met with the NRC spokesperson to give us an idea as to what was on the agenda for the public information session.
We do this on an annual basis. We go out to all of the plants around the U.S. and hold meetings to talk about the plant's performance during the previous calendar year. So we are here tonight to talk about how Pilgrim fared during 2015, and also what kind of inspection work we'll be doing going forward well into 2016. Pilgrim is under increased oversight from the NRC, and that has to do with some inspection findings and performance indicators that show there was a decline in performance. So we are devoting thousands of hours of inspection at Pilgrim to see whether or not the company is righting the ship, whether it's turning around these issues and making sure that they don't occur again in the future. So we will be ready to talk about that tonight. We're ready to talk about not only our inspections, but some of our licensing reviews and other activities. One of the issues that Pilgrim has had is unplanned shutdowns. Some of them due to winter storms. They've had issues with their switchyard where the plant has had to shut down because they lose off-site power. And nuclear power plants not only send power out onto the grid, they take power back for their operational purposes. If that goes away because of issues with the switchyard, then the plant is in a situation they don't want to be in, where they're using their on-site emergency backup power to get through the event. So that was one issue. They've had other issues involving equipment on site, some procedural challenges, and it got to the point where NRC looked at this in aggregate and decided they need to take some serious action to turn around the situation. So they are now under the highest level of oversight from the NRC, other than plants that are in the possibly being shut down category. The company has indicated it plans to permanently shut down the plant, decommission the plant, either in 2017 or 2019. But our focus, until they definitively announce what their plans are, our focus is to make sure that that plant operates as safely as possible through the remainder of its operational life. And so we're doing that through the thousands of hours of inspection at the plant. We've added an additional on-site inspector. We're sending teams to the plant to look at various activities that the plant is underway to turn around performance. And we're basically going to stay on that for as long as the plant's in operation. We know there are a lot of questions out there about how they ended up in this situation, what might happen if the plant is decommissioned, when it is decommissioned, about the decommissioning trust fund. We know there are a lot of questions out there, and we hope they come away with more information than when they attended the meeting.
While folks in the town of Duxbury may enjoy the beach, they may not realize it doesn't actually belong to the town. It belongs to the Duxbury Beach Reservation, a nonprofit group in charge of maintaining the area and in keeping the property in great shape for the town's residents. They hired a group of coastal geologists to do a study on how best to protect the beach from Mother Nature over the next few decades, and PCN stopped by to see their findings.
We're here tonight for a meeting to review a study that's being performed by the Woods Hole Group that's being funded by a grant from Coastal Zone Management, what's called CZM. And it's a study that's helping the Duxbury Beach Reservation to create a master plan, to look for the long term, and taking into account all the processes that are happening on the beach from a scientific point of view, from waves to sea level rise to currents, sand migration. So Woods Hole Group has done a very interesting study, and we're looking forward to the results of that tonight.
Woods Hole Group is a marine environmental consulting firm, and we're working on the coastal processes that are affecting the Duxbury Barrier Beach. Primarily we're focused on the resiliency of the system, how to improve the resiliency, why things are eroding in certain areas, and how we might be able to enhance or mitigate that erosion.
Many people don't know it, but the Duxbury Beach is actually not owned by the town of Duxbury. It's owned by a nonprofit called the Duxbury Beach Reservation, Inc. And the Duxbury Beach Reservation, Inc. leases the beach to the town of Duxbury. And so all of the work that gets done on that beach is done actually by this nonprofit group.
We've collected a lot of data out there, so we're going to talk a little bit about the data collection, the waves and the currents and tides that influence the system. And then we did a lot of numerical modeling, looking at how those processes shape the beach, why things kind of do the things they do out there. And hopefully they'll also learn about maybe some different adaptation options and resiliency options that exist that can help the beach going forward.
Coastal geologist basically studies the historical formation of coastal landforms And in that way we can understand the present day processes, because the same processes that formed this barrier beach about 3,200 years ago, there were sand shoals off the coast. And those sand shoals eventually coalesced due to sea level rise and erosion and sand transport, basically coalesced into what we see today as Duxbury Beach.
What we're going to be able to use a lot of this work for is justification for grants. And we do a lot of work with grant funding. And so we would like to be able to see if we can get more grants to actually help us fund some of this work.
I mean, in the midterm, right, I mean, there's resiliency options that you have. I mean, when you really start thinking about climate change and sea level rise, over the long term, of course, nature is going to win the battle. But there are, resiliency options that you can implement to hopefully extend the longevity of the protective nature of the Barrier Beach system.
What do these careers have in common? National Culinary Director for Sodexo, the 17th largest company in the world, teacher of cooking classes, and chef for private dinners in homes. They all belong to Kingston resident and nationally renowned chef Richard Garcia. PCN was able to grab some time with Richard at his family home in between West Coast trips to learn more about this fascinating and remarkably humble family man.
Today we're going to make a frittata, and that frittata is using ingredients that almost everybody has in their pantry. So this is a super easy dish, and I love to cook this dish with my family, and I've got my daughter Summer here to help. And we're just going to take some, it's springtime, green onions here. So I really have always wanted to cook. I can't really remember a time that I wanted to do anything else. Cooked in Miami, I've cooked in the Virgin Islands. I worked my way through kitchens here on the South Shore. My first executive chef job was actually in Duxbury at the Windsor House Inn. Had a real passion for being in the kitchen and that lifestyle. I mean, again, I can't remember anything other than cooking. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut up some of our tomatoes. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to beat some eggs, and Summer's going to help me do that. And then Summer, I'm going to have you take this cheese and just start grating cheese. I don't know where it is, and I don't know where I got it from, but I've always challenged myself to be very uncomfortable in my position. So if I'm comfortable in my position, I don't feel like I'm learning. I don't feel like I'm moving ahead. I went into the Marine Corps when I was 19 years old. I'm probably the only person that walked into the recruiting office and said, I'll join the Marine Corps, but only if I can cook. And I was a cook in the Marines, so it's just always kind of been something I've wanted to do. And what we really want to do with the onions is get as much flavor out of them as we can. We don't want to cook them over a super high heat. This is medium heat. Just really let them kind of let their liquid out and start to really flavor that oil. One of the things that I've really loved about my career is learning how to work with super simple ingredients to make some amazing dishes. And then the last thing we're going to add is a little ricotta cheese. All right, Summer, you almost ready?
Yeah.
Watch out, Looks good, Summer.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing, Summer, you want to sprinkle some of that cheese right on top of it? Right on top. It's great to do what I do on a professional basis, but it's even greater sometimes for me just to be able to, kind of get in the kitchen and cook by myself and watch people be really happy. Good? All right.
As a way of giving thanks to the town's senior population that helped provide the tax dollars to pay for the new schools, select members from Plymouth South High School senior class hosted a Seniors Thanking Seniors luncheon. The young and the older sat down for a meal cooked by the students where they were able to look past the differences in their ages and see the similarities in their lives.
What this is today, it's called the Seniors Thanking Seniors Spring Luncheon. It's not like spring outside, but what we want to do is thank the senior citizen community for all their hard work, especially their hard tax-earned dollars for our new school. We're building a new school, so we want to say thank you to them. And we don't always get a time to sit down, have some lunch, have a chat, so this is the opportunity to bring the young and the old together. The cooking is actually all our awesome culinary staff from freshmen up to seniors. Under Chef Levy, Sue Martin, John Nadeau, they are fantastic. One of our seniors, Matt, made the fresh bread this morning, so they're doing all the cooking. We have our graphics people that made the invitation. We have my CAD students who made the lovely signs for us. We have a lot of different organizations here helping us put this together.
Maureen came to me, over a month ago, and we talked about getting our seniors from the Council on Aging together with the students from the high school to talk about how things in the world have changed and how life is changing from the students leaving high school today to my seniors when they graduated high school and how things were then. And that's where it all blossomed from. It became a fantastic event. We have worked very closely with her population and my population to not only come up with a great event that they would enjoy themselves, but a way that they could talk and reach each other on the same level. So the students came up with questions to ask my population, and my population came up with questions to talk to the students about, because they really feel that times are very different now than when they were younger.
Obviously, we can learn from them and they can learn from us. If they have any questions for us, we would be happy to answer them. Hopefully, we can have an extended relationship with the people that we have our lunch with.
I think it's a really great opportunity to meet with the elderly and learn a little bit about their childhood, what they did in high school, maybe even college, and I think it's a really great opportunity for them and for us.
I would love to see this become an annual event. I think younger people don't spend enough time with older people, and they need a little bit of their knowledge because they're still growing and changing, and they need a little bit of guidance. And I think the seniors at the Center for Active Living can provide that guidance as well as knowledge and education.
I wish every town did this. There's such a need for the young people to meet with the older people and hear their stories. I know I'm fortunate that my mother-in-law lives with us, so we constantly get to share moments of our lives with someone we otherwise never would do, and it's congratulations to them for doing it, and I hope they continue it.
Yeah, the kids did a great job. You got the culinary department, putting together the lunch. You also had the kids from the graphic arts department that made the invite. So many kids got involved. I think, it was only, like I said, there was a select group of kids that were allowed to go.
Right.
Just because I'm sure they only had so much room, but I think
Sure.
a lot of people really want to get involved, which is a good sign. I feel like every time I go to Plymouth South High School, I learn something new, and I see something new, and I leave much more impressed every time.
Right. It's a dynamic place for kids to learn.
PCN is excited for our new contributor to the pet health segment. It's Duxbury Animal Hospital with owner Dan Hebert.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dan Hebert, owner of Duxbury Animal Hospital. I'm here to contribute to PCN's Pet Health Series. And today we're going to be talking about leptospirosis. This is something that some people have heard about, some haven't, but basically anybody that owns a dog should know about it. It's a very common bacterial disease. It's been in the United States since before it was the United States. And it's very commonly passed through our pets. And in towns like Duxbury and the surrounding areas where there is a lot of wildlife, it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem as the wildlife is moving back in. It's a bacteria that's passed in the urine, and pretty much every animal around us carries it, squirrels, deer, whatever. And once it gets into the ground, it'll either stay in wet soil, get into puddles, and the way it gets into the body is through little cuts and scrapes in the feet. It doesn't have to be licked up or anything like that. It actually has a high affinity for iron in the blood, and the smallest cut will allow it to get in through any kind of damp soil or wetness. Once in the body, it will infect the liver and the kidneys, and when it does that, the body will try to clear it and will actually cause liver and kidney failure. These are two things that are very hard to catch because in the early stages, they just look like general sickness. Animals will have fevers, or appetite will be off, and unless you run a full blood panel, it is missed. If it's missed for long enough, the required hospitalization that can be very expensive. If it gets into the kidneys, it will require $10,000 to $15,000 of dialysis to clear it out. So it's definitely something we should be aware of and be vaccinating for. There are vaccines for it. They're included with the distemper vaccines. They're done annually. It's something that really every dog in the South Shore area should be getting every year. Thank you very much for watching PCN's Pet Health segments.
We're back at Kingston Collection with the Friends of the Plymouth Pound to meet Lucky.
This is Lucky. She's a female, and she's been here a good 6 months. Her owner passed away, and they surrendered her, which is better than letting her go in the woods. The adoption is it's a longer process than most people think, but it's a thorough one. And then the organization has people that check them out and check all the people that you use for references. And then they, like I say, they check for vets, and if you own a house, is one thing. If you're a renter, you have to get permission from the landlords to be able to have the cat with you. And then hopefully you get approved and go to a nice house, huh? She'd, be a good one, cat for a single person or a single house. And I think she could work in with maybe another cat or a dog, but it'd take a little time to adapt. Once she gets adapted to a place, she'd be better too, because here they're always in and out of crates and cages, so they hide in the corner when they can.
This week, we're very, very fortunate to have Nancy Carroll on our set. Now, Nancy Carroll is known as the Litter Lady. Yay, as you can tell from her incredible outfit. So, Nancy, tell me all about who is the Litter Lady, how did it start? Go.
I moved to Plymouth. I was walking down at the waterfront, and I went, wow, litter, 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 litter. Called town hall. I said, we got to do something about this. What are we going to do? I had all kinds of ideas. And they said, well, there's this group, and they just started some litter pickups twice a year. And they called me, and I started getting involved with them, the Network of Open Space Friends in Plymouth.
That's how it started.
That's how it started. And the outfit, I don't know. I picked up some smashed water bottles at the waterfront.
Which are at the top of your hat.
The top of my hat.
Lovely smashed water bottles.
Lovely.
That you painted.
I took them home. I washed them. I drizzle paint in out, and I put them. I don't know where this came from, but it's recycled prom dresses.
Yep.
It's some fun things.
You're making noise.
Oops. These are my jewels are bottle caps, caution tape, and I'll tell you a little more about that later. Oh, I use my newspaper bags to good effect,
And obviously you're wearing this outfit to garner as much attention to what you're doing as possible.
Absolutely.
And you wear it every time you go out and collect litter?
No, it's hard to wear while I'm collecting litter. It's hard to collect litter while I'm wearing this, as you saw from the other clip, No, I go, I talk to Rotary groups, I go to I'll be at the Selectmen's meeting tonight.
Yeah.
I may be Herring Woman when I go tonight.
Okay.
But I'm talking about
Herring Woman, that's fine.
But I'm talking about the same thing, trash, fish, So that's how it got going, and I wanted to talk to people about it and get attention for this issue.
Okay, now the biggest problem that you told me was you're really concerned about the trash that lands in the ocean. So talk about that.
Thank you for bringing that up. Everybody has become more aware these days. There's pictures on the media of trash in the oceans, and I mean 30 feet deep, bigger than Texas, in all the oceans of the world. Whales last week were found washed up dead in Germany with their bellies full of plastic. Birds full of plastic.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Right.
Fish are eating plastic. Oh, hello, we eat fish.
Right.
So let me tell you something really special, why we need to do everything we can. We live on the coastline.
Yep.
We're the fence.
Yep, we are the fence.
We have to be a fence and keep this stuff. If it's on the ground, it blows into waterways, streams, brooks, and it gets in the ocean. Let me tell you something really terrific about whale pee.
Whale pee.
Whale pee. This
okay?
is about whale pee, okay?
Only here on PACTV Community News. Go ahead.
Whales help make oxygen, all right?
Really?
Yes. One right whale pees about 250 gallons a day. That's a lot of pee.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pee.
Yeah.
It helps fertilize phytoplankton, which is this little microscopic green stuff on the surface of the ocean, which with sunlight creates 70% of oxygen on Earth.
Oh, I had no idea.
So Save the Whales is not just a cute hippie thing.
Right, right.
It's we need all the critters in the ocean.
That's right.
All of them, all of them. So it's vitally important that we not only clean up our community, make
Keep it
it
clean.
beautiful,
Yep.
keep it clean. Who likes to walk through trash?
Right. Stop it in the first place.
Stop
Right.
it in the first. Don't
Right.
do it.
Right.
You know what we pick up mostly?
What?
And-
I was just going to ask you that. What's the worst or the biggest offenders?
yeah, Dunkin' Donuts coffee cups.
The plastic ones. I mean,
The
the styrofoam.
Do you know what?
Which is worse.
Plastic never goes away.
Yeah.
Do you know that about plastic?
Yes.
It never goes away. It doesn't degrade.
Right.
And between the sun and the seawater, it breaks it down into smaller pieces.
Which is worse.
Yeah.
Because you can't gather it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the critters eat it. You know,
Okay,
the
so you have-
birds are looking for food and they pick it up and give it to their babies.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
you have plastic. Couple other things before we wrap it up. What are the,
Oh,
what
yeah,
are the
yeah.
things to look for?
On the ground, we find nips bottles,
Yeah.
water bottles, you know, et cetera.
Yeah.
You name it, cigarette butts,
Yep.
cigarette,
Yeah, cigarette
butts
butts.
all over
Yeah.
the beaches.
Right.
Anyway, that's what, and sometimes, usually we pick up about 900 bags of trash
A year?
on one day.
Oh,
no,
one day.
on one day.
Oh.
We do it twice a year, but
Okay.
on each cleanup
You
day,
have 900 bags of trash.
900 bags
And
of
this
trash.
is just in Plymouth.
Yeah, just in Plymouth.
Okay,
Just
so-
in the parts of Plymouth we have volunteers to cover.
Wow. How can we get involved? What do
Okay,
we do?
it's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
This Saturday.
Okay, and who is this? Who's
This
Patrick?
is Patrick Farah at Town Hall in Plymouth.
Okay.
And call him at this phone number,
Yes.
508-747-1620, extension 204.
And he will coordinate with the plastic bags
You
pickup.
need purple plastic bags
Okay.
from Patrick, and then the DPW will pick them up when we're all done.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the work
Oh,
you're doing.
you're
And for
welcome.
letting us know.
Thank
and
you so
keeping it in
much.
the forefront of our minds.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
So don't trash. And thanks for watching. And we're back next week with more local stories from the South Shore. PCN is on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can get more information at our website. If you have a summer story, let us know by filling out the form on the website or email kim@pactv.org. Have a great week.